皆さんこんにちは、ゆりです。今日はですね、新しく YouTube の企画を考えてみました。私もカナダに来て1年くらい経ったので、友達がたくさんできました。なので今日は私のお友達にインタビューをしたいと思います。ぜひ最後までご覧ください。Okay, alright. Let's get started. First, may I ask your name?
Sure. My name is Ronnie.
What can I call you?
Ron.
Ron. Okay, well, what did you grab today?
Oh, matcha latte.
Do you like matcha?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, so
But I'm going to recommend
not like what? Why? How come?
special recipe. When you go to cafe, usually the matcha has sugar mixed.
Oh, I see.
Right. That's not matcha. And usually they only give you 2 little tiny scoops. That's milk and matcha.
Could you tell me how to order matcha latte in Starbucks next time?
Absolutely. Depending on the size, I would like a tall matcha latte in a here cup because it tastes better.
Not paper cup.
Not paper cup.
Oh, okay.
This kind of cup.
Oh, nice.
The taste is better. No foam, no sweet, and 4 matcha, please. That is real matcha, and that will be the real matcha.
Latte.
And Starbucks matcha comes from Japan.
Did you guys know that?
This is not Starbucks.
Color is a little bit like
Very green.
yeah, very green. Yeah, that's nice.
In Japan, maybe they might look at you strange when you go to Starbucks and ask for that recipe, but they can do it.
I prepared a fun question for you. Are you nervous?
No.
No.
Are you nervous?
Yes. Yeah, it's my first time. So, first, what do you do for a living?
Well, that's a big question. So I'm the CEO and founder of EZUMEE Group. We are a social media platform, but we're also involved in studios, film and TV production facility, and other things. But social media is the big thing.
Where are you from?
Where do you think?
What do you think?
Yes, what do you think?
I think, but actually I know.
Oh, you know already. I'm from Montreal.
Montreal.
Yes, originally. I was born in Montreal and I grew up in Montreal. I lived in Toronto for 1 year. That was enough for anybody in Toronto. Yeah, it was good.
How long have you been living in Vancouver?
In Vancouver, it's been 20 years.
20 years.
Yes.
That's a long time.
Yeah, Vancouver is home now.
What do you think about Japan?
I think Japan is an amazing country, in my opinion, in the world. Sorry about all the other countries, but I think Japan is number 1.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, what makes Vancouver appealing? Also, I need advice for international students to be mindful of, for example, criminal or like dangerous places, something like that.
So Vancouver is a good city. It's beautiful, but a lot of times students are coming here or working holiday visa. People are coming from Japan. Japan is a very safe country and a very trustable country. And Canada is a good place, but there's a lot of issues in not only Vancouver, but all across North America because of drug issues and other problems. So what I would say for international students coming here is not to be afraid, not to be stressed, but to be wise. The 3 things that I would recommend to be wise about. The first thing is if you're female from Japan, on the street, on the SkyTrain, in the cafe, library, there's a lot of, unfortunately, guys that are going to try to hit on you and pick you up. And they do that to everybody all day long. So I would recommend do not share your contact information, your social media with strangers, people that they may seem nice, but you have to be careful. And I'm not trying to scare anybody. It's just that's the fact. The other thing is when you're setting up a social media profile, meeting up groups or things like that, do not use your full name. Always use your first name only, but never use your family name. Because with the full name, anybody can find you on social media, including LinkedIn, and then they can stalk you or follow you. So those are safety tips. When you're going to meeting up events, there's some really good ones, but there's some that are full of people that are just there for one reason, and that's to pick up. In the streets in Vancouver, you might see some homeless people. Generally, they're not going to hurt anybody. You know, they're having a hard time. It just looks scary sometimes, but they're not going to hurt. So the only thing I would say is the biggest danger for a student is the guys that are playing games, the players in Vancouver. Sorry, that's a big problem. One of the things, it's like that in many cities, but I don't know why Vancouver has a more concentration of guys targeting a Japanese female.
Japanese female?
In particular.
How come Japanese?
Because I think in Japan, people are very trusting and they believe somebody. So somebody can be very nice, very good looking, very kind, smooth talking. And I'm not saying everybody's bad. There's a small percentage, but that percentage is very active. And so if you're coming from Japan and you're female, right as soon as you get into Vancouver, you're probably going to be asked questions like, oh, are you Japanese? Oh, I'm learning Japanese. Oh, can you help me? Can I have your phone number? Can you do this? Can you do that? And right away, people people are, oh yeah, for sure, because they want to help. They give the information. Then they start getting text messages, and sometimes the person even shows up at their house or school. And it happened. In our community, meeting up groups, we're very careful and we try to protect our member. And sometimes they come to us with problems. So the experience that I'm talking about now is from people, actual experience. And so the advice I would say is before you give any information to somebody, make sure you know them. If they come up to you on the street or in the library or SkyTrain, if they come up to you, start talking to you, they're doing it to everybody, not just that person. It's like a lottery. They're going to try everybody. Yes, until they reach somebody who's going to say, yeah, I'll go for coffee with you. And it happens. Sometimes people went to the person's house and they had problems. We've had to call the police sometime. It's been a serious problem. So don't go to anybody's home as well. Unless you really, really know somebody well. So there's a lot of little things, but the main thing is if a stranger comes up to you on the street or in the library or somewhere, SkyTrain, be careful. The other thing is looking for a job. Sometimes the people are hiring. This is a different problem. So some of the street vendors that are selling hot dog and things in downtown Vancouver, they talk to the female and they say, you want a job? They get them a job and they start working. But the guys in the booth start trying to make a girlfriend with the girl and they don't get paid. 2 weeks later, they don't get their salary. It's another problem. So if you're going to work in a food place, I recommend working in a restaurant or a cafe that is well known, because sometimes the smaller one is a problem. But at the same time, please don't be afraid and don't be stressed, and just be wise and you'll be happier.
What's the key point to have a good time in Vancouver? Could you share your favorite ways to spend summers and winters here?
Absolutely. So Vancouver is a small city. It's a village. Summertime, the natural beauty, hiking, the mountains, it's like 10 minutes away. A lot of parks, the beaches. Vancouver has so many beaches, as you know.
Yeah.
So spending summer in Vancouver, there's a lot of things I can recommend. And one of them is being outdoors, hiking in the nature and the beaches. Yeah, that's the biggest thing.
Next, could you tell me about Canadian culture and festival you know about?
So Canadian culture, as you know, is very diversified. Vancouver especially is very diverse. It's basically a mix of every culture. So Canadian culture, in my opinion, and that's what makes it kind of beautiful, because you can meet people from everywhere.
Yeah.
Also the culture, the customs, the food, it's perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's nice. Okay, next, I wanted to ask more about Canadian. For Canadian, in terms of personality, as you told me before, like
The elevator thing?
yeah.
So Canadians are generally very polite. In Japan, people are very, very polite. Yes. The example I always give is you're standing in front of an elevator with 5 Canadians, and the elevator door opens, and they say, oh, go ahead. No, it's okay. You go ahead. No, you go ahead. The elevator door closed. Nobody got on.
Totally slay.
Yeah.
What's a good place to make Canadian friends?
So making friends is a challenge anywhere. People are shy and they don't know what to do. That's a big question. Yeah. So one of the things I recommend, like for example, what we do at EZUMEE is we create events in a safe environment. We try to keep away the bad people, and people come, and that's a great place to make friends. In the past 7 years, we've had 6,000 events in Vancouver, and so many people, thousands of people could make friends.
Wow.
So that's a good way. But when you go to meeting up events, you need to also be careful, be selective, and find the good ones. We just do a lot of effort to make sure they're good, and that's a great way. The other thing too is sometimes, and it might sound strange because in Japan it maybe doesn't happen too much, but cafe, like going to Starbucks, it's sometimes tables are made to sit everybody together. Sometimes conversations get started. So there's lots of different ways. In my experience, for meeting people, the best way is an organized event in a group environment, so it's safe, and it's a great way to meet people.
Final question. Many Japanese like to study English. Could you give some advice for someone starting to learn English?
Absolutely. So if you go to school, you're going to learn formal. That's great. But you need something more. Conversation. So casual conversation, coming to the events and talking with other people in English. There's some video on YouTube that I hear often, an old American TV show called Friends. And a lot of people watch those shows and actually learned a lot of English. But in Vancouver, when you're here, coming to events, not just sitting there and like this, but actually getting involved, listening, and then speaking. And don't be shy.
I say don't be shy.
Don't be shy.
Don't be shy.
Yeah. In our events, we try to make sure everybody has a chance to speak. If we see somebody's very quiet, we're going to kind of help them to. And then after 2 or 3 events, they're very talkative. Bye, everybody, and enjoy Vancouver. If you're in Japan, don't be shy. Vancouver's not that far.
はい。じゃあね、今日こんな感じで、初めての企画だったので、私もちょっと緊張しちゃったんですけれども、カナディアンの友達、あとはですね、さっきロンが言ってたみたいに、カナダはとてもダイバーシティな国なので、外からね、移住してこられた方々とか、あとはね、留学生とかにもですね、いろいろインタビューしていけたらいいかなと思いますので、ぜひチャンネル登録とグッドボタンを押して待っててください。で、こんなこと聞きたいなっていうことがあれば、ぜひコメントで残してください。Alright! Thank you today!
Thank you too.
Bye!
Bye-bye. またね。